Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to be introducing to you our new youth pastor extraordinaire, Ashton Peters. I'm going to be giving him a chance here in just a second to answer some questions from this interrogation or this interview. But before we get to those questions, I'm going to give him just a second to introduce himself to you. Ashton, take it away.
Yeah, what is up, Praise? Pastor Nathan already graciously introduced us. My name's Ashton, and we are so excited to be coming there to be the youth pastors at Praise Assembly. My family, there's me, my wife, and our two girls, Hadassah, she goes by Hattie, and Annaleah, she goes by Anna. And they are 4 and 6 years old, and our life, we'll probably talk about more in a minute, is filled with pink and glitter everywhere. But they are so much fun. But our entire family absolutely cannot wait to make the move down there to Springfield. So yeah.
And we're pumped. We're excited to have you. Church, you might not know this yet, but Ashton is a huge deal. And so we're excited to have him on the team. We're going to jump into these questions right now, starting with some youth ministry questions, and we're going to end with some fun questions. Is that all right?
I love it. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. First question. What was your favorite and least favorite thing about doing youth ministry in 2020?
Yeah, man, 2020, what an interesting year. Have we realized that 2020 is now an adjective and not a noun? You know what I mean? Like people here, they're like, oh, that's so 2020. I'm like, since when did this become an adjective? But it was filled with lots of things both ways. So I would say probably the least favorite thing, you guys will get to know I'm an extrovert by nature. I'm a people person. I'm the social butterfly. And so obviously not having the in-person meetings as much, it really was something I really missed out on because I love seeing people, love seeing people's faces, love hanging out after youth service. So we would go, there was a McDonald's down the street from our church here in Roscoe that we served at. And we would go to McDonald's every week after youth service, and we would close the place down till like they kicked us out every Wednesday. And so I definitely missed that a whole lot. So that was probably the least favorite thing. One of my favorite things, so we were doing online youth services, but we also wanted to connect relationally with people in youth ministry. So we did like a pre-show so on Wednesday nights our youth service would drop, and it was a pre-recorded youth service, but we would do like this pre-show, me and another guy on the youth ministry team. And it was just a blast. So we would just get on and do ridiculous stuff. We're really good friends with our like media director coordinator. And so we would take over her office and do random stuff. Like she's an essential oils person. So like smell her essential oils and give reviews on them, mispronounce their names, all kinds of random stuff. And then we did this segment. This was one of our students' ideas actually. But we did this segment every week called Bougie in a Bottle. And it was like these random super bougie sodas or different drinks that different students would bring in for us to try. And we would give these ridiculous reviews. But there's a few of them I really liked. One or two were a little nasty. I tried black water. And so it's supposed to be really good for you because it's very, I think, alkaline. It's one way or the other, but it was very interesting. So there were some other ones, like some different types of sodas from Target, and those I did appreciate. But so that was just kind of one of our favorite things that we would hop on every Wednesday and just be ridiculous and have lots of fun, and just allow us to connect and try some different stuff. So that's probably my favorite thing was 2020 gave some opportunity in youth ministry to try different stuff. And so I do love trying a new thing, I'm a planner. And so obviously sometimes I have difficulty with change, and sometimes I don't, but sometimes I really like changing things up and just doing something brand new. And so the fact to get to try new stuff in 2020 in youth ministry was a big deal for me. So.
Yeah, now you've been doing youth ministry quite a long time, right? How long have you been doing?
Yeah, and so I was to get ready for today, I had to count the numbers. So 14 years now. Wow. And so, yeah, that's my entire adult life. I have done youth ministry. And so, so we started the season. So even before me and my wife, my beautiful, absolutely love of my life. We've been married 11 years now, and I was involved in youth ministry even before I met her. And she was involved in youth ministry at her home church too, in lots of different areas as well. But yeah, so 14 years now of doing youth ministry in different capacities. So
that's amazing. I'm sure with that many years in youth ministry, you probably could write books about the funny, crazy things that happen in youth ministries. Would you mind sharing with us maybe like one of your favorite like funny stories that have happened in youth ministry?
Let me see, because I was thinking about this earlier. I could categorize them. Like you could pick your category at this point in life. You could pick event or type of student or age range, and I could tell you a funny story about it. But I'll tell two funny ones. They were not funny at the time, and I'll go kind of quick, but they were not funny at the time, but they're hilarious now. So one, we served in Oklahoma before we were up here in Illinois. And one night, we were getting ready for service. I had all youth leaders in, and we were just, we had a great night getting ready for service. We had pre-service prayer, and we were praying, and Jesus was moving. And I had, the leaders huddled up. I said, I just have the feeling that tonight's going to be an awesome night, and it's just going to be so good. And then I walk out. We had these like clear glass doors in front of where the fellowship hall where the youth met. Then I walk out after I've given the big spill of what a great night it's going to be. Hosanna, Hosanna. It's going to be life changing. I walk out, and there is a police car in the church parking lot with its lights on. So I turned to my right hand person who was also breathtaking. I was like, why is there a police car with the lights on? And so our church was on the main highway in town. And so one of the junior high boys, to impress his soon-to-be girlfriend, said that, hey, because there's like a little alleyway the cars drove by. And he had said to her, he says, well, to impress her, he says, the next thing I'm going to do, he says, the next car that comes by, I'm going to like reach right out and pop their side view mirror in. Well, what he didn't realize after he'd made the pledge to the love of his life at junior high was that the next car coming out was a cop car. And when he did, not only did he hit the window, but the glass broke and cut him down his arm. And so now he is there in the parking lot. His arm is bleeding. The police officer obviously is not happy for a variety of different reasons. The junior high girl that was the love of his life does not think he is as cool now as she thought he was. And so that one was a pretty funny one. My other favorite funny one, which this one's pretty infamous, this is the one people tell me needs to be in a book, was once again our youth building. So our youth building was an old restaurant that was kind of there. It was connected to everything on the main highway. Well, this guy came running in one day, because we were just right there on the main little road. And then there was this gas station across the street from us, and it was like the fried food capital of the world. In fact, in our lobby, you would still just whiff all the fried, everything fried. They fried everything. And so there was fried food capital of the world over there. Well, a guy ran into the youth building, and he ran into one of our youth leaders who was working the check-in area there. He's like, this person's trying to kill me. They're after me. And so we're like, sir, you can't stay here. Well, then as soon as he's done, this pickup truck pulls up. And then of course, by this point, we're meeting this pickup truck out, outside. We're like, hey, and so he was looking for him. Luckily, he was not trying to kill him. There was just a dispute, we'll say. But this is not where it gets funny. It gets funny. So the fried food capital across the street, like the little street there, they run next door to it. Well, as they're running next door to it, the chief of police walks out. Well, now, and I swear in cartoon fashion, the three of them are now chasing each other around the dumpster of this gas station. And we'll call the guy Billy Bob. I don't remember his real name, but the police chief, as he's chasing him, says, I'm not doing this again, Billy Bob. And so I'm like, how many times has this happened? And so then the guy reaches in and grabs the guy that was being chased, grabs the car keys out of the guy's truck and throws him in the dumpster and takes off running down the street. And we had this big window in front, because he used to be able to restaurant, this big window. So every student is in front of this big window watching Coyote and Roadrunner pretty much go down in front of our eyes with the police chief. And so obviously there was not an ounce of seriousness that took place the rest of that night. But we really laugh now. I mean, there are people still to this day that will send me text messages about that story, because it was so ridiculous, but it was also so funny at the same time. And so that's just two of the more crazy ones. Like I said, I could kind of pick every category, but those both were like, wow, that's the one that people have been like, you need to remember those and put those somewhere someday. So
yeah, if you don't have youth ministry stories where police were involved at some point, I don't know that you really did it the right way.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
All right, I have one more youth ministry question for you, and then we're going to move into some fun questions. What is one characteristic of your youth ministry philosophy or plan that you would say is maybe like unique to you specifically, and not really like that you're the only one doing it, but what's one of those areas of youth ministry that you're most passionate about that seems to find its way into all that you do?
Yeah, I think two things, kind of. One, small groups. So I love small groups. I love doing small groups. I love students getting involved in small groups. I love small groups, like just taking on an identity of their own, different small groups over the years that we worked with. Not only do they have like their small group name, but like it's their identity. They always have the same snack, or they would have their own little things that were just part of that group. You're like, oh, if this group, like one group is called Righteous Shine, Righteous Shine, they throw the killer football parties. You know what I mean? Like, so letting each one of those groups, like just letting students find places to connect, and leaders find places to connect, and just forming family. So I think kind of that approach of being like a youth family, you know what I mean? And so with that, I think another thing as well is traditions. And so I love traditions. And so I don't know if you're a musical fan or not, but I'm just already thinking in my mind, like Tevye from Fiddler on the Roof, where he's like, tradition. I'm a huge theater person, by the way. And so that's the thing people can know about me. And so, but I love traditions though. And so there's some youth ministries in different seasons of life that, places we're not now, that they still do some of the traditions. Like there's a Christmas tradition at one of our other youth ministries, and they still send me a picture every year as they do this particular thing. It's always the last Wednesday night before Christmas that they do it. But I won't give it away, because we'll probably, when we head there, we've done it everywhere we've been. So we'll probably bring this fun tradition along. But to me, it's kind of special too, because it connects people over the years that 14 years. So some of our students that were teenagers, then they're now youth pastors themselves. But some of them do it with their youth ministry as well. So it's kind of funny, so some of those special traditions and special things. And so really just doing things along the way that we really feel like we're making the journey together, and it's more than just a group of people showing up once a week. That's really important to me. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now we're going to move into some of the fun questions.
All right. I thought those were the fun questions. So
these are like short, rapid fire questions that we're going to end with. There's 8 of them. And then we'll close this thing down. First question: if you could go back in time and play ping pong with anyone from the past, who would it be and why? And no choosing Jesus.
Yeah. So that one really kind of baffles me. I'm not a big ping pong player. So I was trying to think about this. Of all the questions, I was like, man, so ping pong, that's a really good one. Like I would have to really think that one through. Maybe, I don't know, Christopher Columbus. I mean, maybe he could make some great, I don't know, like, I mean, I don't know, like really, I think that's a big one, because I could think of like different people I would want to meet from history and stuff like that. But ping pong, that's a really great question. I really appreciate it. I think I'm gonna have to really ponder that one for a bit. So
you should. I think ping pong brings out, maybe amplifies people's personalities a little bit, maybe some of their flaws, some of their strengths. I think you see that in ping pong. So we'll give you some time to think about that one. I'll throw you a slow one now. What is your all-time favorite movie? If you had to pick just one, had to.
Yeah, if I had to pick just one, I was thinking about this. So I have a variety of different movies. I'm kind of more of a TV person than movies as a whole. I do like a good superhero movie, so like the whole MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, all that stuff. But one of my absolute favorite ones of all time, it's a very underrated Disney movie, is The Emperor's New Groove. And so I don't know if you've ever seen it or not, but between me and some of my friends, we frequently quote it. And I feel like it's one of the best written comedies and very undervalued. And so we often will quote a lot of it to each other, like something absurd will be going on, and we'll just like either quote each other, or we'll be sending each other little, some people call them GIFs, some people call them GIFs, however you pronounce it. We have very frequent ones of those, of both Crunk and Yzma from there, that we send to each other. We feel like that they're able to amplify any occasion in life we go through. But yeah, so that's one of our favorite things to do. So I love Emperor's New Groove.
Nice. Now I would imagine, as someone that has some girls in that 4, 5, 6-year-old age range like I do, there's probably a lot of pink. There's probably a lot of glitter. There's probably a lot of dancing that happens in your house. Do you have, Ashton, a go-to dance move? And would you mind showing us if you have one?
So I try to be a little bit more original. So you have obviously all the dad dance moves, like, the shopping cart, the lawnmower, and stuff like that. So I've tried to really branch out from those. And so obviously my kids are huge Frozen fans. Frozen 1 and 2. My kids actually like Frozen 2 better, in case the world was wondering. Especially because I have 2 girls, Hattie and Anna, and they embody Elsa and Anna's personality to a T. So Anna's about as Anna as they come, and Hattie's about as Elsa as they come. And so I just appreciate just the occasional, like that, just that let it go, like actually I'm a little bit bigger fan of the second one. I like the 2-arm movement, which is more like the, what's the new one now? The Into the Unknown. It's like are you out there? Do you hear me? Do you see me? Like, see, there you go. So that's what I got. Like, in fact, it's funny. And some of my friends in the office, when we're looking for each other, we'll walk through and do that, and then like someone will do the Olaf response. We'll go, and so like we can gauge each other's state, me and my friends, by how the echo resounds of the ha, so, but yeah, so I think that's kind of my go-to. And then of course my girls like spins and twirls and all kinds of different stuff like that. And so often I'll remain stationary and do the spinning and the twirling and all that different stuff too. But I think just sending the question out there, if anyone's out there, do they hear them? Do they see me? I think that resonates with the hearts of people. So
rumor has it you have a pretty mean Running Man dance as well. That we look forward to seeing.
So the rumor's only partially true. The Running Man's a little bit, but the infamous one is the hammer dance. And so people confuse it. So there is, and I've been told, we're wrapping up our season at our church up here right now. They're doing a going away video soon. And I've been told that this MC Hammer dance will reappear. But yes, there is, from youth camp one year, there is a version of me doing the MC Hammer dance. And I was like the only youth pastor there that knew it. The evangelists cracked this joke about the hammer dance, and they brought people up there, and I was the only one that actually knew the real hammer dance. And so, yes, there will probably come a moment, it will be hammer time. I also have, during Christmas time, some pretty great in-sync Christmas lip syncing song abilities. And so, we really wish people Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, like they had their song back in the day. And so that's kind of been a funny thing. Every year at Christmas, it comes up on my time hop, all these different variations of me and youth leaders lip syncing in sync as well. So yeah.
Dude, I love it. I can't wait to see some of that. Next question. When you're feeling down in the dumps, what's one thing for you that just turns it around instantly?
Yeah, as I have my coffee cup in my hand here, one thing is a really good cup of coffee just makes the world a difference to me. So it just transports me to just this great place where, there's caffeine and good aroma, and just, it's just really life-changing for me. And so I think that's a big one. And so I think that's, lots of times I'll be like, just go grab a cup of coffee somewhere, drive, and a cup of coffee, and listen to music for a little bit as well. Obviously my kids make me laugh. And so there's always a lot of fun that kind of turns things around pretty quick when I come home and get to have fun with them. But I think one or two of those is probably the biggies for me.
Nice. Now, next question is, what would you say the percentage is of text messages you send that contain emojis?
Oh yeah. So I would almost say 99.9. Here's the reason why. You get those auto-generated texts, like from for this or that, your appointment, the yes or no. So they don't have it. Sometimes I really want to respond back to be kind to the people and tell them yes with a thumbs up. But I think it would probably kick it out. Sometimes I've actually done that before. Then you get the response back and it's like, we're not taking, try to use emojis. This will only take text format. I'm like, but I wanted to give a thumbs up to the doctor as well. I let them know I appreciate my reminder to the dentist or whatever. And so I guess technically, realistically, it would probably be 95% because you have those random auto-generated texts. But outside of that, I was super stoked when I got my new computer. I realized the little scroll screen there, you can click on the emoji button, and it has just taken up a whole nother level, because now my email percentage with emojis has really jumped. Like my numbers are really up there now. And so, but I love emojis. I feel like that they just, they communicate emotion so well. And sometimes it's just fun too. Sometimes if I'm really bored, it gives me a way to communicate with people. And sometimes it stretches my creativity. It's like, I feel like if I can convey that, like I've had things with friends before where like, we'll send entire stories with just emojis. And so there'll be no words involved, but we'll just send a bunch of emojis and have to like either guess the movie or something like that. So we did that once with like Disney movies. Like we dropped a bunch of emojis, and nothing could be super talent. You couldn't use an actual word, and like you had to guess what movie it was based on the emojis and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, I have greatly appreciated the emoji culture that you have already infused here at Praise, because pre our conversations with you, there was no emoji texting happening, and we've seen it slowly progress, and I love it because I'm kind of like I have a tendency to be a little sarcastic at times, and so I think through text that emoji it helps you communicate, you know, the thing that you really want to express in the right way you want to express it.
It's true. You know, they say that the ears are the pathway to the soul. I think that emojis are the pathway to the soul, really. Let you see where people are coming from. So I'm really grateful I could bring that contribution already. And so just wait for it. We'll have, so I'll tell you a really funny story. So the first time we were back here, we were, you know, virtual for a while. The first time we were back in person, my first thing I was going to miss was being able to comment with all the emojis during the virtual services. And so it kind of got vetoed, but our idea was, I said, I'm going to make on poster board sticks that I can hold up with like the like emoji, or like for some of the praise songs, I would drop the praise, like the little dancing emoji. And I told some of the staff, I said, I'm going to bring in like hold up. So maybe at the right moment, you never know, Pastor Allen may be preaching one week and you may see me hold up a little.
Please.
Little emoji sign, giving him the thumbs up, or the little, I don't even know what it is, but like the little, like the excited, I call it the excited emoji. It's like the little confetti. It's like you're blowing a little horn. And so, I mean, just, you know, I don't know how your worship pastor should feel about that one week, me like, yeah, so we'll see. But
I love it. That's a pretty deep answer. Our next philosophical question is, if you could be any animal, which would you be and why?
Okay, so I have a funny story for this one as well. If I could be any animal, I would be a peacock. And the reason why I know it's a very unique choice. And so there is a running joke with some people in my life with a peacock. And so it occasionally emerges different places. Like people have given me stuff. And so when I was in college, true story, I promise. When I was in college, I was late to an event I had to be at. And now where I went to school, I was in like a city, you know, metropolitan area, you know, and so residential, so not like out in the wild, which I don't even know where peacocks live out in the wild. But I one day was running late already to try to get somewhere, and it was on a shorter, like a not very wide road, and there was a peacock in front of me. And so it made me significantly late. And like, I don't know. I'm like, and I think I found out later, there's like a little kid's pet farm, whatever, a couple streets down. But I was just like, I mean, peacocks are more unique. I was like, if I hit this thing, I mean, they probably, I don't know. I mean, I didn't know what all, and I was in college. And so I was like dirt poor. And so I had no money to pay a fine whatsoever. I could barely pay for ramen noodles. I mean, I would have to pay back the game and fish commissioner in ramen noodles for this assaulting a peacock. And so the running joke in life has been since then, with people with me about peacocks, and it really, and not to get super philosophical for a second, but it's always been the unexpected in life that sometimes just pops up. It's like, didn't see that coming. And so that's kind of a phrase that we use, like, it's the peacock. We're like, well, didn't see that coming in the middle of the road, and stalling everything and different stuff like that. So it's fun. And then because we have girls too, they love peacocks as well. They're kind of bougie. And so it's kind of this whole, you know, thing. So
yeah. All right. Here's our final question. I love asking this to people. What is the fastest you've ever driven in a car?
Okay. I was like, you're paused like there's a second part to the question.
Well, if it's appropriate, you can give us a little bit of detail on this event. If not, that's totally fine.
Yeah. You know, I will say this. I'm actually a slower driver. And so you got my really good stories earlier. I got to be honest. Because usually for running late, my wife's like, she's like, I'm going to drive, you know? So this would be a great time to invite like my guest panelist, Stephanie, to she would have a great story for this one. I'm trying to think, you know, of all the things in life, I'm a very conscientious driver. In fact, I'm known for driving too slow instead of too fast. And so I would say like probably 85 on interstate if I was in a really big hurry, which I don't know like I said it to other people, and I think in the scheme of everything, that's definitely not that fast, you know, from what I hear, like for the, you know, drove really fast question. So I don't know if that helps you or doesn't help you. Maybe I still drive the church van. I don't know if you have a church van, but you know.
Yeah, outside of our youth leaders, this may surprise people, but I am the same way driving. I will sometimes get in the slow lane and commit to the slow lane the whole way home, just to help build patience in myself. I read that book one time. I thought it was
love it. Consistency. Now I'm a person that appreciates consistency. And so if I could put on the cruise control, like, so funny story. So someone was going to sell us this car once. It was a super nice car. They were giving us a fantastic deal. I mean, it was a nice car. It was going to be like this still of a deal. But we get ready to get through all of it. And they're like, and it's all kind of tricked out, everything. It didn't have cruise control. They're like, but there's no cruise control. I'm like, nope, done. Not doing it. And so like I turned down this really great deal on this car once because there wasn't cruise control. I'm like, I ain't doing it. No, I'm sorry. So sorry. But so that's a key thing for me in a vehicle, is cruise control. So,
man, that's awesome. Ashton, thank you so much for these these few minutes. I've had a blast, and I'm sure everybody listening has as well. Do you have a closing word, sentence? You want to share before we log out?
Yeah, I'm still going to ponder the ping pong question. I'm sorry I was able to deliver on that one. Maybe George Washington. I don't know. I'm thinking George Washington now. I think we're going to go with him. I just like to always cross my T's and dot my I's. So wanted to get you that answer there. Or I'm from Illinois, or I live in Illinois, right? So maybe Abraham Lincoln, so we can maybe go with him too. Either or. A president of choice. But on a serious note, we can't wait to be there with you guys at Praise. I'm so glad we got to have a little bit of fun here real quick. We're just fun people. I really mean that. We just love having fun, being ridiculous. And at the same time, we're just so excited for all that God's going to do as well. And so we're excited to see him change hearts and lives and all he's going to do there. And we just can't wait to be there in just a very short time frame now. So
yeah, thanks for joining us. We're excited to get you here in a couple weeks. And until then, we will plan on seeing you soon.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, man.
Welcome.